Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Power Rangers Lightning Collection Zeo Blue Ranger. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. Today we are taking a look at a different team on the channel. Can you believe it or not? It is the Power Rangers, but the Zeo Rangers, of course. Now I think this was season 4. I was still about 8 or 9 when this season come out, so I was still watching Power Rangers, but I was drifting away a little bit. But I watched Zeo, definitely remember them, love the outfits, and I'm glad we're now getting them in figure design, as we already got the Black Gold Ranger in the San Diego Comic-Con box set. There is a single release of that coming as well, and now we've got the first single packed team member, and of course Zeo Ranger 3, aka Blue Ranger, and we've got Rocky as well. Obviously Rocky was the second Red Ranger. We've already got a Red Ranger figure, so now you could use that Rocky head sculpt on the Red Ranger if he is your preferred Red Ranger. But it's always nice to mix and match. Again, I like the blue, like the gold, and I'm very happy to be building the Zeo team for my collection as well. So as I said, in the box, interchangeable head, he gets his sword, a blaster, interchangeable hands, and even effect pieces hiding in the box as well. And I say it before, I say it again, really like the packaging for these Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Nice and smart, and definitely worthy of a display piece on their own. All the way around. Again, it would be nice to get a wave, but we just get a single shot of the figure. But yeah, I like the figure inside the box even more. So without further ado, let's get him open. Now, before I open him up, I thought this was worth a mention. So if you're like me and you buy 2 of the figures you like, one to keep in box and one to open, then this packaging is really good for display purposes as well. If you turn one of your figures to the front and then keep the empty box on its side, you can pose them on the shelf like this, displaying the full helmet. And then you could get your loose figure posed in front of him. So if you get all 5 of the team on one shelf posed like this, it would make for a very nice display. So I always thought that was worth a mention. So here we have Zeo Blue out of the box. First impressions, looking very nice. I did always like the Zeo outfits. This is Zeo 3. He's got the triangle on the helmet, and of course it was Rocky under the mask, the second Red Ranger. He was in the movie as the Red Ranger, and then he actually continued on to be in Zeo. I'm not sure he lasted longer than that, to be honest. Now he comes with an effect piece, which we have seen before. He also gets his sword and his blaster, so I'll zoom in and show you them in a minute, and then an interchangeable pair of fisted hands. So a nice little arrangement of accessories so you can mix up the display. But overall, really liking the figure. I've only been buying the Mighty Morphin so far, so it's nice to get a different design, and I've always liked the gold contrast against the different outfits. And yeah, this is looking really good with all of the sort of Zeo sort of patterns sculpted into the figure by the looks of it. He's got a place in his harness for both his blaster and his sword as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's zoom in, check out these details. Here's a closer look, and again, using the white background to show off white pieces is probably never the good idea, but you can see the gold, and you can see how these pieces are actually sculpted in. Now, the butterfly joints are nice, but when you articulate outwards, you can see that they're now smooth in the middle, so the sculpting detail for the Zeo pattern doesn't actually continue on the middle of these joints. So you have to line it up just right for the pattern to go all the way across. Otherwise it just goes flat. But again, that's not a big issue. Moving down, you can see his buckle, and then his bout piece is a separate piece by the looks of it. Yeah, it's separate, but it seems to be on there quite tight. Maybe it's glued down. And he comes with 2 weapons. So you get this sword, which at first I thought maybe would slide down and up, but no, it doesn't seem to be retracting. And again, you've got some nice sculpted detail on there. Then you also get this blaster as well, and this blaster's got some decent paint detail on there, gold, red, black, and you can put them into his harnesses. So that harness there is obviously for the gun, and that goes in there nice and tight, really good. That's not going to fall out. And then the second harness is for the sword. Now the sword doesn't retract, but it will just sort of sit down on his leg, and it won't really get in the way of articulation. You can get him articulated any way you want, and the sword's not going to get in the way. So you can harness both his weapons. Now he also comes with 2 sort of 1 trigger finger hand to hold the gun, of course. So let's actually get that gun back out the harness and hold the gun. First time doing it, so joints are tight, that's a good thing. And there you go, he will hold that perfectly with the finger actually in the trigger as well. So that is one hand, is a trigger hand for the blaster. Second hand is, of course, for the weapon. You can get him to hold that. So there you go, he's got his blaster and his sword. But the second set of hands are two fisted hands, so you can get him punching those bad guys, not a problem. So you do get a couple of different hands to mix and match the display. And again, this effect piece is for the sword. So if I get the sword back out, I'm assuming there is somewhere that this will go in. So yeah, there's a little tiny hole on this effect piece. And again, it's a translucent sort of light blue effect piece. We've seen it before with one of these Lightning Collection figures. And it will just sit on the end of the sword. So there you go. If I pop his hand back out, I'll always be careful because these joints are tiny. You can't see because it won't focus, they're that small. But if I plug that hand back in, zoom out a little bit, you can see how you can get him posed with his effect on his sword, again to bring the shelf to life a little bit. So here we have Rocky's unmasked, unhelmeted head. What do you think? Does it resemble the actor? I think they've done an okay job. It definitely resembles him from certain angles, but he seems to be looking to the left a little bit for some reason. He's a little bit suspicious of things going on over here. But if I do move him to the side just for a little bit, I'll bring in an actual picture of the actor and you tell me, does it actually resemble the actor? I think it does a little bit, just a little bit. Not as good as some of the others, but not bad job at all. And now I have said this is not the first time Rocky has been a Power Ranger, of course. He was the second Red Ranger. So let's see if we can add him on there. So here we have Rocky and, of course, Jason, the first Red Ranger. But he does pass on his power coin to Rocky. So let's do that quick swap and the heads pop off, not a problem at all. And that pops on there, and that doesn't look bad at all. So if you want Rocky to be your Red Ranger, I think that is something you can do, not a problem. But who picks Rocky over Jason? I doubt there's going to be many people that do that, but let me know in the comments below. Now, the only other Zeo Ranger we have in our collection so far is the gold Zeo Ranger from the San Diego Comic-Con box set last year. But we are getting this figure single packed again in Wave 5. And to be fair, this gold Ranger design has always been one of my favourite Power Ranger costume designs of all time. It's always been very nice. Definitely makes it pop. And I can't wait to get the rest of these Zeo Rangers. He's looking very good next to Zeo Blue here as well. So yeah, Zeo Gold, Zeo Blue. Let's have more of the squad, please, Hasbro. So there we have it. Final thoughts. Zeo Ranger 3, Zeo Ranger Blue, whatever you want to call him. He is a nice looking figure. I can't wait to build out another full Power Ranger team for my collection. And this Zeo team is started off very strong with gold and blue looking nice. Now you let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you just picking and choosing your characters, or are you trying to build out full teams? Are you just buying them all? Always curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to see more Power Rangers reviews, as well as Marvel Legends reviews and anything else I want to review on the channel, then all you have to do is support and hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. And if you're in the position to support the channel that little bit more and see even more reviews, then you can do that on Patreon, and it is much appreciated. But until then, people, my name is Dan W, and of course I shall see you on the next one.